What's up, everybody? It's your boy Meme here. For breakfast, I had a bagel and a banana and some eggs. For lunch, I'm not going to be having anything, and for dinner, I'm probably going to be having a sandwich at work. It's the 20th of December. It's this one right here. Oh, it's like plants, but the plants have bells on them. Is this called something? Yeah, so I'm just hanging out today. I woke up at 5:30 this morning, and I walked 3 miles on the treadmill. I was gonna walk 5, but some stuff happened at 6:56 a.m. My boss texted me, and my boss, like, she's the wife of the owner of the store, so she kind of also like gets like joint owner, like she also owns the store, and she said, Hey, she said, "Hi, Leo. Hey, sorry, I know you told me only works weekend and Monday, but I'm not feeling too well, and your other coworker will cover me this morning. And I was wondering if you can close today from 3 to close, only for today." And the thing is I have therapy from 2 to 3, and so I can't like start working at 3 because I will just be getting out of therapy, which is pretty far away. I have to like take 2 buses there, right? Because I'm an idiot and I don't have a car. And I was like, so I texted her, but I was thinking, like, man, you know, it wouldn't hurt to work, and the past couple times somebody's asked me to cover their shift, I haven't been able to, and it's for real because I've been doing things, or like schoolwork's due that day or something. Like one of my coworkers, like, he's texted me the past couple times. He's been like, "Hey, are you able to cover for me?" And I'm like, no, like, because for real, I can't. Like, I have something that I was going to do that day or something that I couldn't cancel on or stop doing. And it's super normal, and it ends up being fine. But I was thinking to myself, like, man, this is like karmically, you know, maybe it's bad to be like, no, I'll never cover for anyone. And of course, that's not my intention, but that's kind of how it, you know, that's sort of functionally what it's resulted in. Just sort of that, just, you know, outwardly seeming like I have that attitude toward things when I don't. And so I was thinking to myself, you know, I probably should work today, because, you know, somebody's asking me to cover a shift and I should probably work. And I said, I have an appointment at somewhere 6.5 miles away from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. today. And if you'd like me to show up at the sandwich shop, I'll be there roughly at 4:19 p.m. Because I did the math on my Maps app. And I was like, hey, if I leave here at 3:10 p.m., when would I show up to the sandwich shop if I did directions there? It was like, oh, it'd take like an hour, like it'd take an hour and 9 minutes. And I was like, okay, I'll just do the math there. It'll take 4:19 p.m. I'll be able to get there. And so it's actually interesting because on weekdays we close at 7:30, and so we usually exit at around 8 p.m. or so. And that's interesting because I've never closed on a weekday before. And, you know, I'm not complaining. You know, it's going to be interesting, certainly. And it's actually kind of funny because I've been trying to go to bed at 8, so I'm going to be leaving the store at 8 and then walking home. I'll be home at like 8:40. I'll probably go to bed at like 10, and then I'll wake up tomorrow at 8 a.m. and then I'll have work at 10, so I'll have to like leave at like 9:20. So I probably won't even exercise tomorrow morning. I'll probably just take a shower and then maybe exercise if I have to when I get home. But hopefully, fingers crossed, it's enough exercise going to and from work tomorrow that I won't have to even get on the treadmill, which was the case yesterday. You know, I was working at my model building job, and I, you know, was operating a jackhammer for a lot of the day, and so I didn't have to end up exercising. But, you know, we'll see how that turns out. I'm pretty happy to be working today. It certainly wasn't planned, but, you know, I like working, I like my job, and I'm pretty sure I'm getting paid today. Like, I'm pretty sure we don't have direct deposit for some reason, so we have like physical checks in envelopes that we grab from the drawer at work, so you have to show up and grab your envelope with your check inside of it. And, you know, usually like I don't really care, like, people can do the math. Like, I don't really care if people know how much money I make from my job because they're like my coworkers, and we all know how much each other is paid because we're at like a fast food job, you know. So I don't really care. So I just usually deposit my check at work. and then they would bring it home to keep it in this big envelope that says paychecks, which I've had ever since I worked there the first time back as my first job. Look at how many paychecks I have. But anyway, yeah, so then I usually bring it home and put it in there, but I like depositing my check at work so then I can do like, you know, whenever I deposit my check, I always have to move some money around because it's like, you know, I want to save a certain percentage, but I want like a certain percentage as well in my savings account, so I just do some math, move some money around, and it's nice being able to just do that at work when I'm not busy. Like, sometimes, there's usually like every shift there's like 10 to 15 to maybe even 20 minutes where there's for real nothing to do. Like, the thing is you're supposed to sweep and like do chips and drinks and such, and like, you know, if you have for real nothing to do, you can go to like the drinks fridge and then spin every drink around so then the logo shows, and like you can fill up the crackers for the soup, and you can fill up like the spoons for the soup, and you can do the napkins everywhere. But for real, sometimes there's like actually nothing to do. After you do all that, there's for real nothing. And so in a scenario like that, you go on your phone. And so I'm happy to actually have something like productive I can do on my phone, which is moving money around, because I deposited my check that morning, and by then I'll probably up my money because I have a good standing with my bank. They're willing to just deposit the check, even though it'll take 2 to 3 days to actually go through in real money, but they trust me because I've had my account with them for like 15 years because my parents made an account for me when I was very young, which I'm grateful for. It's good to have old accounts. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, I'm going to be working today. It's actually funny because I'm going to be leaving at around noon for therapy. I have therapy at 2 to 3, as you know. So I usually take the bus there, and then I'm in the waiting room for about half an hour to 45 minutes before therapy starts. And that's actually kind of nice because I like to write down on my phone what I want to talk about, because otherwise I just sort of ramble and maybe we'll get to something. But if I write down what I want to talk about, then it's like I have things to actually talk. Like, it's a lot more productive if I write down things on my phone, so I like to get there a little early and write down stuff on my phone in the waiting room respectfully. Yeah, so I'm going to be leaving at noon from my house, and then I'm going to show up to therapy, and I'm going to be doing therapy from 2 to 3, and then at 3:10 I'm going to be leaving and going to my sandwich shop, and then I'm going to be working until 8, and then I'm going to be walking home from there. So I'm going to be home for a little over 8.5 hours, which is fun. I don't really mind. It's fine. And when school starts next quarter, I'm probably going to be out for a lot longer than that, especially considering my school is like 2 hours away, and God, we're taking like 2 in-person classes. That's going to suck. I'm really not excited for it, but it's also one of those because I'm going to be doing my Network Plus and my Security Plus stuff at the same time. And from what I've heard online, I've heard Network Plus and Security Plus are like, especially if you already have a lot of a computer experience, like they're a little easier than the A+ certification, because the A+ certification just has so much stuff from like so many weird different places. Like there's so much just printer stuff, for example. Like there's so much stuff just having to do with like, you know, like what the platen roll is called on a laser printer, and it's, you know, like what do you know? And so there's just a lot of stuff like that on the A+ exam, but then you compare that to the Network Plus and the Security Plus exam, and it's just about networking, and it's just about security, and so you kind of know what you're getting into. And so because of that, it's a little easier. From what I've heard, just, you know, when I search up Network Plus certification Reddit, you know, and I look at what people say, that's just what I've heard, but, you know, who's to say? You know, yesterday, I actually, you may notice that in the descriptions of these December videos, I've had the words links TBD. And what that means is, you know, I could just go to one of my videos really quick. Sure, okay. So what I mean by that is, if you look at my most recent video, you actually see these links to my old YouTube videos in the description, and this is unique to sort of December. I like to put what my video was on December 19th of 2017 and 18 and 19 and 20 and 21 and 22 and 23. So then you can be like, oh, what did Leo look like exactly like 4 years ago or 5 years ago or 6 years ago or, you know, 1 year ago. It's just cool. But something I noticed So I've had I don't know. It's one of those where like I like to talk about my life pretty actively, and I like to get pretty personal on here. But the thing is that there's always like kind of an upper limit to what I can talk about, and it's not as if I'm like a crazy like tweaker and I'm doing crazy things all the time or anything. But it's just like like I don't want to like an employer to be doing a background check and then like decide like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this because this guy talks about this stuff on his YouTube channel. And when I preface it like this, it makes it seem like I'm some sort of crazy person doing crazy things, but it's just one of those where it's like I'm just being very conservative in what I talk about because I don't even want to risk in the first place like employers worrying about that sort of thing. So it's just kind of a fine line I have to walk. So when I'm talking about this, it's going to be alluding to things where I hope you know what I'm talking about, but if not, that's okay. I don't know. I hope it's obvious. But I live in Seattle, Washington, right? There's a thing here that's very popular to do, especially in like Seattle, like it's like a Seattle sort of a very sort of California thing, man, if you aren't American, you might have no idea what I'm talking about because you're not aware of like the sort of individual culture of each U.S. state. This is strange, but it's also, I guess it's also very popular in Amsterdam up until it was, legalized in California and such like that. But, anyway, it's interesting because I used to, interact with this thing a lot back, especially like a year ago, especially 2 years ago, like when I was going out of high school. And it was totally fine. Like you can see me, I'm doing fine now, and I'm getting certified and I'm doing my things. But the thing is I've noticed that when I would do this thing, it would just make it so then I'm very unmotivated to do things and it makes me lazy. And it's just one of those where I would catch myself, like I'd still be doing my schoolwork and stuff, but it, like, I'd be very unmotivated and I'd be trying not as hard as I used to. And, the work and like stuff I was doing, like learning about stuff, doing stuff on my computer, I'd be learning it less frequently and I'd kind of be caring a lot less about a lot of things. Especially like my thumbnails, like some of my thumbnails were pretty good at around this time, but a lot of them were like particularly low effort. And I'm not just talking about like text on a black background, but I'm talking like you can tell that I'm trying to do something, but it's like not working out. Like I think I had a lot of good ideas, but I think bad execution because of the sort of state I was in. And I think it's, bad execution is really easy, in that scenario. And so, in regards to this sort of thing with the links in the descriptions of my videos, the way that I'm able to do this and the way it's easier than if I were to go back to every single, because the way I do this is usually I scroll down 1 year and then I have all of my links up to 2022, so then I'm just able to copy them and just add one video, which is last year's video, because last year's video had all of these. But I noticed in December of last year, I was very lazy, and sometimes I didn't even put these links in. And so I'd have to go back 2 years and then add those links to the new video and then add those links to today's video, which just sucks. And it's just so, it's one of those where you realize like, man, I really was lazy and I really wasn't doing that much stuff back then. And, I really was pretty unmotivated, and it just sucks because it makes you think like, man, I wonder where I would be now if I wasn't so unmotivated during this time, you know what I mean? And just doing these things that make you unmotivated, that's just a shame. And it's one of those where it's not really a problem, like, if I'm with friends or if I'm at a house party, I do this thing that I'm vaguely alluding to, but it's just one of those where I never do it on my own, and I never like make sure I have individual access to it, because it's like one of those where it's like, I have a lot of trouble with self-control with that sort of thing, and so it's really easy to just be doing it all the time, when really, like, when you're on your own, you should be motivated to work on your own projects and do your own things, and that just leads to being unmotivated. And I think that's a really easy trap to fall into, and just be unmotivated forever. And I don't want to work at a sandwich shop for the rest of my life, respectfully, Oh man, they changed the thumbnail of this video. So these people, Answer in Progress, they make good videos, but like, the reason why I remember this thumbnail is because it was like particularly bad. It was like why women's pockets are useless, and it was like split up into three. It was like split up into thirds, like vertically, and it was like 3 vertical strips of this woman in different pants, and she's trying to fit them into her pockets. And they have this, like, even with the new thumbnail, they have this like yellow dashed line motif around the pocket to like show how tiny the pocket is on the inside. But in the try thumbnail, the three strips thumbnail, they had it where it was like, you know what? I think doesn't Mr. Beast have a thing for this? Mr. Beast, Social Blade competitor, where you can like look at past thumbnails of videos. View stats. It's view stats. Oh, it's right here. Okay. Oh, I need to turn on JavaScript for view stats. Okay. Answer in progress. Yeah, this video. What? You need to create an account. Okay, hold on. Hopefully I'm gonna create an account and it's not gonna make me like pay to see more statistics. One moment. Hey everybody, so I even tried this on Chromium. I just can't sign up. I just can't. You press the button, nothing happens. And I tried this on Chromium where I don't even have like no script on or anything. Like it just isn't. It's just not working. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So they had this thing, and it's weird because they had this like dashed line motif, and it's just strange because it's just so tiny. The dashed line is so tiny, and nobody's gonna see that. And it's just it was such a bad, like astonishingly bad thumbnail. And I was like, oh my god, like what are they doing here? Like, and they changed it, and it still has this terrible dash line motif, and it doesn't make sense. It's just a bad thumbnail. Like, there's a better way they could do it, and I understand they don't want it to look like a bright side thumbnail or anything, but like, I don't know, you could, you know, it could be a little optimized, you know, respectfully. But anyway, yeah, and you know, I don't know. That's pretty much it. I don't know.